during the last episode, or the latest episode of Bill Maher, he was talking to Anthony Weiner, and they discussed the Boston bombing and what the Red Sox did to remember the victims of the Boston bombing. So he said something that people are, taking very personally. They think it's controversial. I want to read you his exact quote, and then we will decide whether or not we agree with him. Bill Maher said the following: "So the Red Sox won the World Series. Congratulations, Red Sox. So the parade, they go to the place where the marathon bombing took place. They put the World Series statue there, and they sing 'God Bless America,' and they say 'Boston Strong,' and they chant 'USA,' It was, again, a bad day. 3 people died. That's terrible. More were maimed. That's horrible. But unfortunately, that happens every day, in car accidents and everything else. I mean, your city was not leveled by Godzilla."
I watched it. I saw it. It was funny.
Okay, so wow, you're voting not guilty right off the...
Definitely, I'm voting not guilty. It's like there's a group mind thing. I mean, he gets to say it, and you get to disagree with it, but it's not controversial, and that we all have to think we have to honor everything the exact same way. At some point, it got tedious, and I felt had taken a look. I wasn't in Boston, either for it happening or for the moment of honoring, but I felt like I think we've honored this enough, and now it seems like you're milking it for your own benefit. The baseball team that plays in Boston is not connected to that. That has nothing to do with it. Tragedies also happened in St. Louis. Tragedies happened in Detroit, but somehow, because these people were victims of 2 crazy Chechens, that somehow that is worse than what happened to Miss McBride. Is that her last name? Is that right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I hate "God Bless America," and I think it's the worst fucking song ever written.
Wow!
And Irving Berlin wrote this piece of shit, offensive song that somehow God, if there is one, bestows a greatness on us that he doesn't grant to the overwhelming majority of the world, is nonsense and stupid and offensive. And so, but I'm offended by that, but nobody gives a shit. So I don't care what Bill Maher said. I thought it was fine, and he was mostly kidding. But Anthony Weiner did say rather amusingly to that, he was like, "What's wrong with you?" It was a nice moment. And that was hard to argue with that too. I was like, yeah, all right, well, you don't want to be that sort of grumpy about it. But
yeah, I agree more with Anthony Weiner on that. I don't see why this is something that got under Bill Maher's skin. Okay, so the Boston Red Sox felt the need to do that to remember the victims of something terrible that happened. Okay, I mean, I can't think of anything that I would be less offended or less annoyed by. I don't even find it a little annoying. So I just feel that it's strange that he had this random rant on what happened, during
it was partly
this parade.
To what the quote doesn't quite give, doesn't quite put into perspective, was that it was sort of, I took it as part of it was like, again, like we keep doing this, we keep going back to it.
But
I get it.
Last April, though.
It happened last April, and this is the Red Sox. They just started the season then, and this was the end of the season. They won the World Series, so I guess this was one final.
I know, but you know what? You actually swung me, believe it or not, Ben. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Look, to me, I think it's a good thing that we are really worried about 3 people dying and a lot of people being wounded, etc. Yes, I know, in the old days you had Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and 100,000 people would die at once, and yes, that's much worse, etc. But I'm glad we're in the days where we're really, really pissed about 3 people dying and a lot of people being maimed in a bombing. I'm glad that makes us angry and that's the new standard. If that's the new standard, that's great, right? I don't want more deaths for us to get pissed and do Boston Strong, etc. But the part you swung me on is, so Virginia Tech, obviously we lost a lot more people, right? Now, it wasn't a bombing, right? Okay, and it's a little apples and oranges, right? And I can name 100 shootings where we lost more people, right? But there's an element of the Boston thing like, oh, the Muslims did this, right. And I don't even want to, the Muslim thing is more like it was like terrorism, so it was extra bad, right? Extra bad. Whereas it wasn't terrorism at Virginia Tech, so they're not Virginia Strong. Right. They didn't survive a terrorist attack.
It's not, I don't think it's about the body count necessarily. It's about the people. Okay, let's say I live in whatever town Virginia Tech's in. I hear, oh my God, there's been a shooting at Virginia Tech. Okay, they got the guy, he's on campus. This is, a bomb's gone off. And now they're driving around and they probably have dozens of other bombs that they're gonna let off. Oh, and now they're shooting people. Oh, and they're locking the city down. So it was a thing of each person felt like they were probably involved in it. Like if you lived in New York on 9/11, walking home from downtown to the Upper West Side, you were like, it was surreal.
So it traumatized the whole city.
It traumatizes the city, so that's all it is.
yeah,
But I mean, I get your thing. It's like, you know.
And I get that too. I get it. It did traumatize the city, definitely. And there is an effect that sports teams are sort of representative of the community, and they are. And you feel connected with people because of the sports teams. Right or wrong, we do. But, you know, like on whatever, December 14th, you know, I think it's December 14th, the Red Sox are New England's team, and Newtown is in New England, and that was a horrible tragedy, and I don't know, it felt like I get tired of it, and I'm half kidding, but I mean, we sing God Bless America on Sundays at every baseball game now, at the 7th inning, you know, since 2001. They sing it every 7th inning at Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium in New York. And I hate it every time. I hate it. You know, a lot of people don't believe in God. They certainly don't believe in the same God. And I certainly don't believe God cares more about Americans than he cares about anybody else. In fact, he really ought to care less about Americans than everybody else, because most of the world needs much more help than we do. So it bothers me that that's the way we think it's okay to celebrate.
Can we all agree on this, that whether we agree or disagree with Maher's comments, that it's not a big deal that he said them, right? Like,
No, right.
So, and again, I got no love for Bill Maher, okay? But you get to say whatever you want, and that's the point of his shows.
He took that trash can and he threw it through the window at the end of the movie. And it was such
I think that's a problem with.
Sorry, yeah.
So, you know, look, he does a show that's supposed to be politically incorrect. I know that's the last of the name of his last show, but that's the point of this show too. And so he's politically incorrect. Have at it, Hoss.
Yeah.
Everybody agree to that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with him, but he gets to say what he wants.
Yeah.
Listen
So my point is, like, I might not agree, but I'm not outraged by what Bill Maher said. Okay, that's what he thinks.